3, 2, and 1. We are back and welcome to the Pon Pod. It's been a long time. Glad you can join us. How you been doing?
Aces high.
I love to hear it. Always make sure to, if you haven't yet, subscribe and like, comment, and definitely comment. We like your comments.
Yes.
We respond to all your comments.
Yes,
now,
do.
how you been doing? What have you been thinking about this week? What's on your mind? Tell the good people.
What's on my mind is the personification of menace. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
If you're going to get into some Jeffrey Epstein thing, I don't want to hear it.
No, I'm going above. I'm going above
Okay.
Epstein, right? The truest personification of evil,
Right.
as seen on celluloid.
Yes.
In one of the great...
Ernest Goes to Jail.
Felix Nash actually is a
Felix Nash.
runner-up. It's a runner-up.
Okay, fine.
It's a runner-up. But I'm going to outdo you. From one of the great, I don't want to say underrated, but perhaps not as high-profile gangster films of all time.
Right.
And that is specifically Sexy Beast.
A great film.
A great film.
A great
right?
film. Give me the tail of the tape.
Sexy Beast chronicles the exploits of the Ray Winstone character, Gal.
Right.
Sporting exceptional lobster tan.
Amazing. And great Speedos.
Great Speedos.
Yeah.
And I also want to say, great strawberry blonde, shades of wheatus hair dye.
Right.
Right? Winston looking quite slim, actually, in that film, compared to, subsequent roles, right? And especially when you compare him to his star turn in the Point Break remake in 2015, where he was really lardy in that, by the way, okay? Fine. And by the way, Ray Winston, an exceptional eater on screen.
Okay, fine.
And a good English breakfast eater. Seen in Sexy Beast.
Yes.
Can I make an impression?
Yeah, very good. That should have been part of our series.
Don't time to try me. Offer me a job or so. Yes, please. Thanks very much. Okay. Right. So, Sexy Beast. So the exploits of Gal, who's a retired ex kind of low-level British gangster, now enjoying the good life with his wife
in sunny Spain.
Yeah, in sunny Spain. Right. And they're best friends. Okay,
as you do.
There. Yes, as you do. Okay. And he dodges a boulder in the first scene, by the way.
Yeah. Great opening scene.
It's a great opening scene.
Great opening scene.
In any case, over the ensuing hour, okay, attempts are made by mid-level gangster Ben Kingsley, playing Don Logan, okay, in a terrifying portrayal of a crazed, unhinged kind of gangster.
Okay,
right?
so I get where you're going with this. He's the personification of evil. He's the worst villain there's ever been on screen. He's scary. He's horrific. He's unhinged. We've been there. We've heard it all before. Tons of YouTube videos about this. Try something else.
That's exactly where I'm going. You just fell into the bear trap.
The bear trap.
You, Professor Marandi, have fallen into the bear trap. Right, okay. That was my George Galloway impression, by the way, for those who don't know.
I think we should do it a whole episode.
You think so?
You're just speaking of...
Okay.
Anyway,
it'll come later.
Cover us with some George Galloway throughout.
But you see, that's not where I'm going, son.
Okay, go on.
Because whilst Kingsley... Okay, and he's very iconic in this role, and much of his dialogue has been referenced and re-referenced and parodied even, right? Okay, it is actually the top of the food chain heavy in this. Okay, Teddy Bass. Okay, played by Ian McShane, the great Ian McShane, standing at an imposing 5'8" inches tall.
Wow.
Sporter of maybe the best hair.
That's what you call a curveball.
Thank you, yes. As seen on screen, maybe ever. McShane's hair has to be... We need to deep dive it.
We haven't done that. We've covered a lot of mullets in our time, but never the McShane mullet.
It's true, yeah. It's true.
Which is probably the pinnacle of all mullets.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, it's true. And in any case, so
no wonder we're not getting the views.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
No McShane love.
Yeah, no McShane mullet.
Okay, so Teddy Bass. So for the first hour of this film, Don Logan is kind of terrorizing Gal into trying to take the job, and Gal is very, very reticent, outright refuses him, and this kind of spills over into these violent outbursts and so on and so forth. Eventually, Logan is killed, right? And Gal, as a kind of like a blame deflection technique, has to end up going to London and partake in the job so as to kind of throw people off the scent, right? Whereupon we are given a kind of like a very kind of subtle nuanced sort of introduction to Teddy Bass. Now, I want you to give me some Teddy Bass, like
Well,
your
listen, I tell you,
interpretation of his menace.
Listen, you've touched on something very, very important here. Well, important but significant. You're right. He is the kind of scarier side, only because he's far more unassuming, far more subtle. Even the way he speaks with like several words at a time, pauses, several words at a time, pauses. It's all very calm. It's all very collected. It's not as unhinged and as crazy as the Ben Kingsley character, which in some ways makes him even more scary. And without getting into too much detail, the film never tells us his true backstory.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like nods to him being like into some like weird stuff.
Yes.
Right?
It's sexually ambiguous.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about Epstein at the beginning here, but or did I? Or was that the previous take? Either way.
Bang on time.
Either way, there's nods to that seedy underworld where there's all kinds of like shady, disgusting stuff going on, and he's seemingly at the center of it all because he deals with the low-level scum as well as the elites.
Mid-level, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as well as the elites. And he's there in the middle pulling these strings. So that in a way makes him far more scarier than some, loud, violent guy.
Yeah. And in fact, it is the initial kind of sequence between Winston and McShane in the Greasy Spoon.
Yes.
When he confronts him, by the way, dressed all in black as well. So that's a good plot detail, okay? He's obviously got this like very, very kind of scary, kind of forthright, jet black hairline, okay? He's dressed all in black, okay? And he comes and he sits down with him and he's quizzing Winston about Don Logan's whereabouts.
Yeah.
All right? It is one of the most terrifying sequences and it's so real and authentic. And I have to give credit to the acting performances here because Winston also has to feign what's it called?
Bravado over to cover his fear.
Absolutely, and he does it so well as he's kind of munching on his sausages. And the way even McShane comes and walks in with this like very wry smile.
Yeah, the smile, by the way,
like this,
the smile
sits down.
By the way, he could have played a great Joker.
Oh my God! I mean, he's even more terrifying than the Joker. All right. And then he comes and sits down, and then the way he asks him is like, "Tell me again, Don. Like, tell me again, Gal." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" Right? Great. That's great. Feigning his like, ignorance. And he's like, "Don didn't get on the plane." He's like, "Yeah, he did." No, he didn't. This almost effeminate.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of scary. Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a kind of like a pseudo kind of homoerotic manner of speaking. And obviously, that's obviously amplified by the fact that as part of the job that he wants to quarterback, and he's trying to coerce the Edward Fox character who manages the bank, and there's obviously a very kind of like a perverted sex scene in a bath, Turkish bath. But again, his exchange with him, as he's like, "Tell me again," and Winston is like, "Well, I told you." He asked me about the job. I said, "Yes, please, thanks very much." And I got on. No, he didn't. And then afterwards, he obviously he wants Winston to be focused on the job, and then he just kind of leaves with the okay, and then they start laughing.
Yeah.
They start laughing concurrently, and I must believe that Winston is basically thinking he signed his death wish, his death warrant, right?
Yeah.
And the way that McShane starts laughing, right? There's this scene. It's so terrifying and so and hypnotic. He's so hypnotic, right? Subsequently, they pull off the job, and it's a great job. By the way, heist films are. I mean, we love heist films, but when the heist is really clever and really kind of ingenious, and I love the way that the heist of the safety deposit boxes is pulled off by kind of drilling through the adjacent the bathhouse that they have to drill through, right? And then obviously afterwards, during their kind of celebratory meet and greet, celebratory what's it called?
Kind of post-match
celebrations. Winston is gripped, I think, at this point with fear that basically,
At any point,
they're
going to take him out.
They're going to take him out, right? And then they go to the Edward Fox's character's home, whereupon McShane executes Fox.
Yeah.
Single tap to the head,
Yeah.
boom, right?
Yeah.
And then brings up to him again. Where's Don, gal? Where's Don?
Yeah.
The exchange actually is as, nerve shredding as anything I've ever seen.
Couple of points to that.
Go on.
First of all, where the assassination takes place, the Clock House off Rutland Gate, very familiar to us. Number one, you can go visit it. Number two,
Good addendum.
the Porsche 911 that they drive in when he drops him off under the Westway. That's where he's asking him, and he lets him go.
Is that it? Is that
Yeah.
so? I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
nice. Good detail.
Yeah.
Very good detail.
Anyway, these are places we frequent.
No wonder we're so terrified by
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly.
And then the car ride.
Yeah.
When he's in the car, you just don't know what Teddy Bass is thinking. And in fact, what is very interesting is to kind of explore the mindset of the Teddy Bass characters. You don't really understand if he's actually loyal to Don Logan or not. I mean, does he even care that Don Logan was whacked out?
Yeah.
In fact, we understand at the end of that scene that he doesn't give a
No,
rat's ass.
But he just wants to be in the know.
He wants to be in the know.
Nothing is allowed to be, done without his say-so.
Exactly right. And in that car ride, there's it's just like silence, and they're driving, at night. And then he asks him again for the third time to kind of spill the beans.
Yeah.
And Gal essentially gives him I think it's a kind of like a half admission, like he doesn't want to be part of this life anymore.
Yeah.
And then whereupon McShane basically kind of comes clean to him, his perspective on the matter. He knows obviously Don Logan's been killed. He doesn't care how, he doesn't care why. He just wants him to be honest, and drops the lines like, if I cared, gal, if I gave a solitary bleep, right, get the bleep out of my car. Must come to Spain soon and visit. Seems like a nice place. He's like probably like he's like quaking. Winston's quaking in his boots.
Yeah.
Anyways, happy ending all round, right? And Don Logan buried underneath a swimming pool. Okay, so I don't think anybody's gonna find him there. So very, very short, very concise, and an extremely powerful performance.
McShane has a certain air about him, and you're right. It's a surprise he didn't make it bigger, because he's basically, the UK's answer to Jack Nicholson in some ways.
Well, interesting. You think so?
I mean, he's not far off.
Well, I think the thing is that I've done a bit of research. Okay, half-assed internet research. Okay,
nice.
And I think McShane felt during the 70s that he was stunted, as it were, by his 5'8" stature, and that he actually felt he ought to have been the next Sean Connery, but for the fact that he wasn't this tall, imposing figure.
But that's nonsense, because a lot of the biggest actors of our time were, under like 5'6".
Vern Troyer.
Thank you very much.
Oh, anyone? Oh, Hasbullah Magomagdov.
DeVito.
Yeah, DeVito and the Rizzler.
Yeah.
Those are some of the biggest actors of our time. It's true.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think McShane felt that way, right?
Yeah.
And obviously ambled along over the course of his career as a kind of a character actor. But in fact, I've always feel like he's an actor with no haters. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody kind of rates him highly.
But he's not big enough to be an actor with no haters. Do you know what I mean?
No, maybe not.
I mean, listen, he did Lovejoy. Now, why don't you tell the audience about Lovejoy? This is a UK TV series where McShane, before we get copyrighted, McShane played like antiques dealer / crime solver.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
/ detective / something.
We know many of those in real life,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Hatham being one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a hit show in the UK. Massive
show.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, I think he went to the States. He didn't really get far. Did a couple of B B films, but then ended up starring years later in the TV show Deadwood, American cowboy western show. And then his son, he came to the fore, and also around the same time starred in the Matrix.
John Wick.
Thank you very much, which was a big hit. And from then, and obviously before all that, there was Sexy Beast.
Yes.
But Sexy Beast is more of a cult classic.
But I mean, he's not the star of Sexy Beast.
No, but he's not the star of Sexy Beast. Exactly.
And in fact, it's a little bit like our previous episode when we referenced the Jeremy Irons cameo in Margin Call as being the scene-stealing performance. McShane has even less screen time, I would suggest, than Irons and Margin Call. But he's so good. He's so powerful. In fact, you really wish that a film or a spin-off film
absolutely.
could have been made chronicling Teddy Bass.
Never too late,
right?
Never too late, Ian.
And also another thing about Mr. McShane, despite having great hair and he's like a soot hair dye, olive paste, hair dye rocker. But you know what? An evergreen ageless wonder. He has looked the same. He's one of those guys who's looked the same, and he looks fantastic. He's like 80.
Yes.
And he looks just magnificent, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what berry juice he's drinking, but hopefully it's one of mine.
Yes, absolutely. Now, with that being said, can you tell the audience to like, comment, and subscribe, Ala Galloway?
Yes.
Because you know why?
Why?
The Dow is over 50,000.
Right, all subscribers, like, comment, and subscribe. Unless you want to join my fellow broadcaster Piers Morgan on the scrap heap and the ash heap of history. Signing out.